Should we watch some JxmyHighroller? Is it possible to score 100 points in the NBA? Y'all want to? Oh my goodness. No? Alright, let's watch JxmyHighroller.
Makes step-by-step guides for any process with AI. You know what's terrifying at work? When you start a new job.
Audio recording of the final quarter.
Why is it 20
Is it
seconds?
possible to score 100 points in an NBA game? History says yes. It's been done before. In 1962, when Wilt Chamberlain dropped 100.
Chad, y'all, you really think Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points, bro? I ain't gonna lie. No, I don't think Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points. Honestly, there's no way, bro. You made 50 shots, or like, you know, come on, gang. He shot. He didn't even have a three-pointer available to him. Come on, gang.
100 points on the New York Knicks. Now, there's no footage of this game, but there are witness accounts of that night, and official records, and photos, and articles, and even audio recording of the final quarter.
Let's look at this. 20, bro. What? You're getting fouled third. Oh! Come on, gang. You're my girlfriend, and you're my third subscriber. No, I'm just playing. Thank you, thank you. You know what I'm about to do to you. You already know. You know what I mean? You ain't even gotta worry about that. Anyways, back to usual broadcast. Bro, you're getting fouled 32 times. Wilt Chamberlain wasn't even a good free throw shooter, no? Was he just having one of them nights? And then he shot 63 shots. I ain't gonna lie, if I'm his teammates, if I'm Ted Luckin Bill, and not, bro, I'm not letting. What does that first one mean? This one? Position? This one? This is like position, like, are you a guard? You know, you're a little guy bringing up the ball, passing. No, on my name, on your name first. Oh, it's just like how many months for. Oh, like it's just how many months you've been subscribed, I think. I think that's what it is. It says it right, 1 month subscriber. Founder, whatever that means, I don't know. Is that loud? Is that loud for you? Or is it loud for me? I think it's loud for me. They stopped the game. People are running.
Improbable? Yeah. The circumstances needed to have a night like this are just as rare as having the ability to pull off a night like this. But is it
Play what? Oh.
possible? It is. We have seen many players put together nights that were well on pace to setting records that were seemingly unbreakable. So if it can be done, and it has been done, why has no one reached the mythical 100?
That's crazy. People scored like 71. Like Donovan Mitchell 71. That was a crazy game. He was just on one. Damian Lillard too, bro. Just nah, that one season where like fucking 70 people dropped 70 points, bro.
100-point threshold in nearly 65 years. Well, just the other night, we got a glimpse at what it would take and what kind of player it would take to score triple digits in a single game. The only thing standing between.
Y'all think Wembanyama could score 100 points? I'm not gonna lie. No, cause he's on the Spurs, bro. Spurs are like, you know, pass the ball, move the ball, ball movement. Bro, they're not letting Wemby shoot 60 shots like Wilt Chamberlain. Come on, gang. Let's be real.
Him in this Goliath of a point total is an extremely unlikely set of circumstances that may never happen again.
That's a cool logo. I ain't gonna lie.
Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. 20
Is that a
couple
W
weeks
skip?
ago,
W
Victor
skip?
Wembanyama scored 25 points in just the first quarter in their matchup against the Lakers. In
Damn.
fact, he didn't just score 25 in the first, he scored
I could do that in my sleep.
25 points in just the first 8 minutes before checking
20. Wait, what? How have I not heard of this? 25 minutes and 8 wait, what? 25 points in 8 minutes? What the fuck,
out of the
twin?
game with 4 minutes left in the quarter. Victor was out to a blistering pace with room to spare, and if there was any night for him to
What
put the
the
all-time
twin?
scoring record in jeopardy, it was this night. The Lakers were sitting 4
8
of their 5
minutes.
starters. Wemby was a complete mismatch for anyone the Lakers had available, and the Spurs were fresh off of 2 days of rest. A perfect storm of circumstances for a record-breaking game. Well, it wasn't quite perfect. After getting out to a historic start, Wemby wouldn't check back into the game for another 6 minutes of game time.
Wait, why is he going above Wilt Chamberlain?
And the Lakers made some much-needed adjustments in the second half, holding Victor to just 3 points in the third before checking out with 4 minutes left in the quarter, by which point the Spurs were blowing out the Lakers, and Wemby wouldn't see the court again for the rest of the game. His final stat line for the night, 40 points in just
40 points in 28 minutes, bro. Who the fuck is this dude?
26 minutes. Not quite the historic night some fans were hoping to see. Despite many factors falling in his favor, Wemby's 100-point recipe was missing a few key ingredients. For starters, he was on a minutes restriction, so his time on the court was limited. Breaking 100
Facts.
means more than likely playing the entire game. The
Facts.
Spurs also blew out the Lakers, and that's a big no-no. You gotta keep the game close enough to even stay on the court. And
Facts.
the Lakers have a competent coach who made the necessary adjustments to slow Wemby down. Realistically, as fun as it is to imagine, Victor was never going to even approach 100 points on this night. Even after getting out to one of the hottest starts in NBA history, he was already off pace a couple minutes into the second quarter. But although he didn't
Damn.
come close to the triple-digit mark, what he did do was show us that it is within the
Wait,
realm
they got quarter for quarter scoring, but no fuck, like they know like first quarter he scored this many points, but they have no footage of it. Come on, bruh.
of possibility.
Well,
The talent
Chamberlain
to
is a
do it
fraud, bro. There's no
exists.
way.
So, if it's possible, what would it take for a 100-point game to actually happen? Well, to answer this
I didn't even post the fucking live, bruh. Come on, bruh. You're selling right now, bro. Say cheese. Okay.
question, we first need to look back at the games that had a chance to break the record and why they didn't.
Ooh. Damn, damn. Klay Thompson has to be one of them, right? Klay Thompson? Towns? Carl Anthony Towns? Why is he saying Towns' name?
Cat needs to be careful too with the.
Why is they talking about Cat?
He's having one of the best nights of his young career. He's 7 for 7.
You telling me Carl Anthony Towns was the closest to breaking his record?
I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Towns.
Nah, he is guap money though.
Carl Anthony Towns showing you some diversity here. With the lefty finish. 6 turnovers. Towns pump fake fires. Oh, again!
Bro, he don't even jump. He just flicks his wrist and that shit just guap money. Hey!
Towns, no hesitation. Swish!
Damn, he was on one. Fah!
On January 22nd, 2024, Carl Anthony Towns put together the best scoring performance in the first half of a game in NBA history. 44 points in just the first 2 quarters, which at first glance sounds like it's just behind pace of a 100-point game. But points do not come in a linear fashion. We don't know the exact pace of Wilt's 100-point game since there's no video of it and play-by-play data wouldn't exist for another 35 years. But we do know how many points Wilt had at the end of each quarter and how many points he had at key moments throughout the fourth quarter. During Wilt's 100-point game, he scored 41 points in the first half. Karl Anthony Towns was actually ahead of pace, and he stayed ahead of pace clear up until midway through the third quarter, a pace that he might have been able to keep if he wasn't subbed out of the game with 6 minutes left in the third and wouldn't return for 4 minutes of game time. A brief period
he
with
popped off
0
that
points
second
on the
quarter
board that completely stalled out his scoring and killed his chances of a 100-point game. But unlike Cat, who managed to stay in the game long enough to have a chance clear into the third quarter, a lot of big scoring nights don't even get that far. On January 26, 2024, in a game against the Pacers, Devin Booker racked up 31 points with 11 minutes to go in the second quarter, which gave him 3 full quarters to score the other 69. Booker was about as far ahead of 100-point schedule as a player can get. At the rate he was going, 100 points was possible on this night. Until it wasn't. Unfortunately, Booker's first quarter barrage did not stop the Suns from maintaining their regular
I look at you like wet, like on book. Wet, like on book. Y'all think so? Let's talk about it.
And just 2 minutes into the second quarter,
let's talk about
he
it.
got
I'm
sent
low-key
to the
wet.
bench and would spend the next 7 minutes of game time watching from the sideline. Going into the half, Booker had 37 points and would never return to that 100-point pace. 31 points in just the first 13 minutes. Another 31 points over the next 35 minutes.
So who the fuck
is
it?
Outburst that
I want to know who that is. Is that Kobe? I think that's Kobe.
Trails only one game in the history of the NBA.
Before Thanksgiving, as we go right to work, Kevin Love came to the ball.
Nah, you're the emotist. Hey!
Good defender, Kevin Love knocks it down.
You like my emotes? I think, is that the only one I got? I need to add more emotes, huh? I ain't gonna lie.
Love flared out. LeBron James gave it up.
Look at LeBron, man.
Are you serious?
Any given time, just doing a lot of different.
But you can't just spam it. It has to be occasional. Like if something shocking happens, you got. Feel me?
Love again. Oh, come on. He's gone. Video game. Davis came to cover. It left Kevin Love open.
Hey!
Oh, she made it. What else? Back, turn her down.
Look, like he's popping off. He's popping off, and then you do shock. You do the shock emote. You do whatever you want.
He's got 34. Not much you can do. Kevin Love. And one of the great performances in Cleveland basketball history.
Work today is broken. Every day,
I gotta add. Let me skip it.
A simple task.
On November 23rd, 2016, Kevin Love had the single greatest quarter in the league's history up to that point. During Wilt's 100-point night, he scored 23 points in the first quarter. In Kevin Love's historic first quarter, he scored 34 points, giving him 3 full quarters to put up another 66. How did his final 3 quarters play out? He didn't score another point until halfway through the third quarter, only put up 6 more shots for the remainder of the game and finished with 40. Starting a game
coaches
ahead
be
of
hoeing people. What the hell? Like, come on, bro, let me score 100.
Difficult. Maintaining that pace is nearly impossible. Teams adjust, players get tired, they shoot themselves into exhaustion. The law of averages brings them back down to earth. If we look at these all-time high scoring performances, many of them suffer from exactly this. A steep climb to 50, 60 points, and then a slow, excruciating last push to about 70. Teams get prideful, their ego takes over. If not for adjustments and heightened defensive pressure, pride and ego alone will drive an opposing team
Luka
to preventing
Doncic
a
scored
historic
70
night at
with
their expense.
ease, bro.
It gets to a point where they will gladly give someone else an open layup if it means they can stop the guy on the verge of a league record. You can see these moments of exhaustion, substitution, or even dry spells sprinkled throughout this chart, where their scoring completely flatlines. If a player wants to reach the coveted triple-digit mark, they cannot afford to let their foot off the gas for even a moment. It's a dilemma that has prevented many of the greatest scoring nights from becoming the greatest scoring
Come on, bro.
nights.
Like,
start the game out too hot, and you'll.
That's why players back then used to do crack, cause or cocaine, bro. Cause cocaine, ah, feel me? Like, come on, bro. You like coked out. You feel me? So back then they would do coke, so they wouldn't get tired. They're energized, like oof, oof. You feel me? What the heck? What do you mean? That's true, bro. That's true, bro. Players back then used to do coke, bro. Look it up, bro.
Either tire yourself out or the other team will
Jordan was playing against coke heads. Let's talk about it. LeBron has to play against Kevin Durant, and Michael Jordan had to play against coke heads.
hone in on you for the rest of the game like a pack of wolves. Get out to a slow start, and the defense won't have time to adjust, but no amount of scoring will get you back onto record-breaking pace. One of the crucial ingredients to Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game, he played every single minute of that game.
Nah, that's
In
aura.
fact, outside of missing the final 8 minutes of a mid-season game due to a technical foul, Wilt played every minute of every game.
This man don't get tired. This man don't get sore. This man don't get like
In
rest.
that season. So not only did he have the stamina to pull off a feat like this, an entire season of
You're playing
never
every
seeing
game
the
of
bench
every-
primed
what the
him
fuck?
for a performance
You're playing
like
all
this.
game every game.
Wilt didn't get tired because he never got tired. Where was the pack of wolves that should have descended on him long before he hit 100? Well, there wasn't one. The Knicks starting center was out for the game because he was sick. Their backup center tried his best but fouled out of the game in just 20 minutes. And the only guy left to guard the best, most physically imposing player in the world was a scrawny 6'8" rookie playing in just his 57th career game. The last words uttered from the backup center before he fouled out of this infamous game: "Why don't you just give the guy 100 now and we'll all go home?" So what happens when a player doesn't work themselves into exhaustion? When they refuse to cool off, the defense is incapable of slowing them down, and they are only getting hotter as time goes along.
Is he gonna,
Well,
like,
this brings
use
us to the
stats to
next
tell us?
ingredient of a 100-point game, and
Ooh.
quite possibly the biggest reason why we may
He's gonna
never
use
see one
stats to
again.
tell us
The dreaded
who's gonna
coach's decision. Now,
score
one
100.
might think that the best example of a player approaching the most points in a single game is, of course, the second most points in a single game. Kobe Bryant's 81 in
Kobe?
January of 2006.
Bro, Kobe was cold. I taught him everything I know, so you know, of course he was cold. Feel me?
And although this final result comes closer to 100 than anyone else ever has, the details of this game tell a different story. On his way to 81 points, Kobe had 53 going into the fourth quarter. The one crucial factor that pushed him to his grand total of 81, a close game. The Lakers were only up by 6 points on the Raptors after 3 quarters. They needed Kobe to stay in this game and close it out. Now, when a player is scoring at an extraordinary rate, the result is usually a blowout. It is the paradox of big scoring nights and the fatal flaw in many potential triple-digit performances. The more points you score,
Kobe's
the bigger
him.
the lead
They
you
needed
build on the
Kobe.
other team, the less likely you'll be in the game later to score more points. On this particular night, the Lakers were so bad that a whopping 81 from Kobe was somehow necessary to get the win. This
Wait,
is
how
almost
close was the game?
never the case.
What the-
Just 1 month before his 81, Kobe had an even better scoring night against the Mavericks. On December 22nd, 2005,
He had a better
in
scoring night than
matchup against the
81?
Lakers, Dallas scored 61 points going into the fourth quarter. Kobe Bryant had 62 points by himself.
Go put the shock. He outscored the team by himself by the half.
Single-handedly outscoring the Mavs and dropping 30 in the third quarter alone. Look at the pace of Kobe's 81 compared to his
No.
62 through 3 quarters, and it is clear that this night was bound to be something even bigger. At the pace he was going, 100 points was possible if the Lakers weren't blowing the Mavericks out. A 34-point lead on the Mavs going into the fourth meant Kobe would spend the last quarter of the game on the bench, not scoring a single point for the rest of the game, and
No.
erasing what could have been a record-setting performance. On this night, Kobe Bryant and the Lakers made the all-too-common mistake of playing too good. For every game that has the potential to reach 100 points comes a monumental blowout that will stop it in its tracks. On November 30th,
James Harden.
2019, in the midst of averaging 40 points a game, James Harden decided to take things up a notch and drop 60 in just 3 quarters against the Hawks. Harden
I
was
taught him how to do
narrowly
that.
trailing 100-point pace. During Wilt's 100-point game, he had 69 points going into the fourth. A record-setting night within reach for Harden against a Hawks team that didn't have the slightest clue on how to slow him down. The only problem?
Why the Hawks always getting cooked? W at W at W at W at W
Was
at
this
W at
an
W at.
absolute blowout of a game. By the start of the fourth quarter, the Rockets were up by 54
So people can't score
points.
100
Putting
because
Harden back into this game to chase the
you-
scoring
you-
record
you-
would have been
if
an
you-
abomination. And so his final points in the third quarter would be his final points of the game, ending his point total for the night at 60.
Damn.
For all the admiration a
Neta
player would receive
ba.
for potentially reaching 100 points, the fallout for unapologetically chasing it would be far greater. This is the mistake Devin Booker and the Suns made back in
Ooh.
2017 during his historic night against the Celtics. About halfway through the fourth quarter of this game, Booker was sitting on 44 points, a career high for Booker up to that point, in an admirable effort despite the loss that was bound to follow. The Suns were down by 17, a loss all but conclusive at this point. By the end of this game, just 7 minutes later, Devin Booker had 70 points.
Damn.
How on earth did Booker turn a good scoring night into the 10th most points in a single game in a matter of minutes? By staying in a game that was out of reach, taking every shot at any conceivable opportunity, and shamelessly chasing points. A performance that was celebrated by his teammates and fans, but was ridiculed by everyone else. Because
Yeah.
Devin Booker had broken one of the unwritten rules in basketball. The informal rule that a player is not allowed to be force-fed shots during garbage time of a blowout. And any attempt to do so, especially when chasing a record, will be void of any credit. But you also cannot stay in a game to chase numbers
But
and
like,
pad
come
your
on, bruh.
stats while
You
up
tryna
by so
win.
much that you have no reason to even play the final minutes of a game. Which means despite a player scoring more points than he ever has, the game must be close enough to justify scoring more. And this is the final and most consequential ingredient to a 100-point game: breaking the unwritten rules. Leading up to Wilt's 100-point game, the most he had ever
Okay.
scored in a single night was 78, and it took him 3 overtimes to pull it off.
Damn.
Even for Wilt, 100 points was a complete anomaly resulting from circumstances manufactured by him and his team. During Wilt's record-breaking game, the Warriors were beating the Knicks by 19 going into the fourth. By today's standards, this would result in a star player getting benched for the majority of the final quarter, if not the
What the-
remainder of the
Damn. Look at that total, bro. They had no defense. No defense back then. What the fuck, twin?
game. This
You want a
was
bucket,
not
bro?
the case for Wilt.
You want to score on me,
Not
bro?
only did he play
But
the
can I score on
entirety
you
of the
on the way
fourth
on the way
quarter in
back?
a 22-point blowout win,
Like, come on, bro. What
the
are they
sole
doing? Play
focus
some D.
of his entire team was to get him to 100. During halftime of this game, the Warriors point guard at the time, Guy Rogers, insisted everyone get the ball to Wilt for the
So I was saying, like, if I'm his teammate, I wouldn't fuck with that. But they was fucking with it. They let this man shoot that many shots, bro. Hell no, I would have been pissed off. Like, yo, I'm a player too. You feel me? Come on, it's a team game. Why you shooting 60 something shots, bro?
rest of the game to see how many points he could get. By the start of the fourth quarter,
Like,
the
what the
Warriors
hell?
fed Wilt the ball on every single possession and just stood around until he scored. When he missed, their job was to grab the offensive rebound and give it back to
Nah,
him.
bro. This man Will had his own personal glazers. Neta
In a
ba.
last-ditch effort to stop Wilt from scoring 100, the Knicks began to intentionally run the clock out and waste as much time as possible on offense, while down by 20. At that point, conceding the loss was a much better fate than getting 100 dropped on their heads. Unfortunately, they didn't prevent either one of those. To combat this tactic, Warriors head coach Frank McGuire began intentionally fouling the Knicks to stop the clock and get possession of the ball as fast as he could to get it back to Wilt.
Even his coach was glazing them. What the fuck? Nah.
It was a quarter of basketball that resembled something closer to the Harlem Globetrotters than it did an actual NBA game.
Nah, for
the
real, what the fuck?
entire fourth quarter of this game was 12 minutes of intentionally trying to get one guy as many points as humanly possible. And not only
That's
was
so
everyone on board
glazed,
with
bro.
it, they celebrated it. At one point, one of Wilt's teammates even said he planned on intentionally missing his second free throw at the end of the game in hopes that Chamberlain might rebound it and get to 102 points. Instead, with just under a minute left, Wilt scored his 100th point. The game was put to a halt for 9 minutes as the arena celebrated, and when the game
9 minutes celebrating 100. That's crazy. That's crazy work.
Wilt didn't touch the ball for the remaining 46 seconds of game time because, quote, 100 sounded better than 102. Where most players
That is
had
real
to
though.
sit out
That is
entire
real. I ain't gonna
quarters,
lie.
get
I would
pulled
rather
from
score
games
100 points than 102 points. Cause 102 points, like, it's just awkward. Like, come on, you even. It's cool.
because they were up by
Swag.
too much, or simply followed
He
the
was just
unwritten
aura
rules of
farming at that point,
sportsmanship,
though.
even at the
Come
cost of a potential record-breaking night. Wilt and the Warriors did none of those things. Instead, they went out of their way to manufacture a point total in ways that would never happen in today's game. 100 points in a single game is possible, but the circumstances required to have such a game, to justify one player taking that many shots and doing so without infringing on the integrity of the game, is so narrow that we may never see it happen again.
I think
And
we're gonna
there
see
is
it happen.
no greater proof of this than what happened on December 5th,
Oh, Klay
2016.
Thompson. Ah. WF. Double
E to me
ab.
is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe.
Double ab?
where
Really?
You
Really?
Can do
Really?
Whatever you want.
Oh, hold on. This
You
look
can
kind of
have
calm.
really relaxed, slow-paced stuff where you can take it easy, or you could be on the edge of your seat, shaking, making split-second decisions.
My fault. My fault. Back to the video.
Draymond gonna back down Monte for a second. Klay Thompson
Hey!
set.
Nah, Klay Thompson, like, his shooting form is just so, like,
Klay Thompson's getting aggressive.
he shoot like me for real, honestly.
Just took it for Monte.
Look at him. It's just,
And dropped in another one. Didn't choose to take it.
nah, turn around, fadeaway three?
Has 40.
Nah, he's compy, he's compy.
Klay's three. Warriors are having fun. Klay for three.
Nah, he's comp. He's comp.
In what would go down as quite possible
Bro, that Warriors team was way too overpowered, gang. Even before they had Durant. Like, come on, bro. You got two of the best shooters in the world to ever exist, ever in life. Like, come on, gang. You letting Klay Thompson score 60 on 11 dribbles, and he's not even, like, the third best player? Come on, gang.
the
Is that Jeff Teague? Damn. What the fuck? Jeff Teague was a part of everything ever in NBA history. Bro, Teague was there at Wilt's 100 game. Jeff Teague was part of everything, bro. What do you mean? What do you mean he was there when fucking Klay Thompson scored 60 points or on 11, like whatever this game is?
greatest display of shooting in NBA history. On December 5th, 2016,
Oh, in three quarters.
Klay Thompson
My fault.
scored 60 points on the Indiana Pacers in just 3 quarters. But it wasn't simply 3 full quarters of action. Klay Thompson scored all 60
Let's see
of
it,
his
let's see
points in just 29 minutes on the court.
Oh.
A performance unlike anything the NBA had seen since Wilt's 100. Because not only did Klay start the game on 100-point pace, despite getting subbed out of the game for an entire 6-minute stretch between the first and the second quarter, Klay managed to stay on 100-point pace longer than anyone else ever has. During Wilt's 100-point game, he
shit.
scored 2.08 points per minute played. On Klay's historic night, he scored 2.07 points per minute. Now, we don't know the exact number of points Wilt scored in the minutes leading up to the fourth quarter, but based on
That
accounts
is
of that
crazy.
game, by the time Klay hit 60 points and was pulled to the bench,
I would have left him in the
Wilt
game. Fuck it.
had 64 points.
Oh.
If there was ever a time we
That's
could have
2
witnessed
shots.
a player score 100 points with our own eyes, this was the game. Klay was on fire. He was keeping his pace, and he was doing so on ridiculous
Shout out Jeff
efficiency.
Teague.
The Warriors had a system tailor-made to get shooters open and counter double and
My
triple
fault.
teams, and the
Let me get rid of
Pacers
that.
had no
Hey,
answer
Jelly.
for him. And then this happened.
What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened?
You had 60 in 3 quarters. What do you think would have happened if you had the chance to play in the 4th?
Who knows? Hopefully, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Raj. That's a great question, but who knows?
A final substitution
Damn.
with a minute and a half remaining in the third
They
quarter.
subbed him.
After sinking his 60th point of the game, Warriors head
was
coach
it a
Steve
blowout?
Kerr subbed Klay out of the game.
It was a blowout.
He didn't take another shot, he didn't play another minute, and he didn't score another point. But not only did Klay not
Would you have been mad? Would y'all have been mad if y'all got subbed out and you didn't have any game like that?
get to play the entire game, he didn't even get to play three
I'm not
full
really mad, I ain't
quarters.
gonna lie.
After the matchup, some fans speculated if he could have hit 70 if he wasn't pulled from the game. Kevin Durant, Klay's teammate at the time, said he could have scored 80. But at
that's
the
facts.
increasingly rapid pace that he was scoring, Klay's final point total could have, and probably would have, been far more than that. On paper, Klay Thompson scored the 70th most points in an NBA game on that night. But in reality, this is about as close as anyone has ever gotten, and may ever get, to a 100-point game.
Damn. He got robbed of that shit. Yep. That's it. That's it, chat. That's it, chat. Let's look for another video. Let's look for another video. Subscribe. Like that shit. Feel me? W Glaze. JxmyHighroller. He's comp. MP did that shit on the regular. Nah, MP be on one, ain't gonna lie. You're motivating Michael Porter Jr. with this video. Yo, what? Flight scored 100 last June. They didn't have the cameras on. Alright. I appreciate, oh shit. It's a damn, 64 years? Fastest click of my life.